Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again as we're going to discuss Tim Keller's teachings on the book of James. And we're going to dive into the topic of trials, tribulations, and sufferings, and what Tim has to say about what it is that we need to get through those hard times. And I think you'll find his answer to be quite interesting. It's not faith, it's not more love, it's not more hope, not some of these spiritual qualities that we normally think to when it comes to hard times, but rather he points us to wisdom. He says when you get into trials, wisdom is what you need in order to develop the perseverance to endure. And he's got a variety of reasons for getting us there. So today I'm going to outline a little bit of his teaching in this sermon. I'm going to talk about why he states that we need wisdom, the types of wisdom that the world has that don't work, and then 3 principles he's outlined for biblical wisdom that I think you can take with you into meditation and an application into your spiritual life. So why do we need wisdom when we hit hard times? We find ourselves in trials and tribulations, as James speaks to. Why is this passage so timeless? Well, Tim illustrates in the beginning that things that happen in our life that we believe are bad sometimes can be an issue of how we're interpretation. So just because you get into a car accident, you can't attribute that as something that was a poor decision that was made or somebody else's fault and point fingers or God's fault for doing that to you. You really have to look at whose universe do you live in? Is it yours or is it his? And how is God using an event like this to shape you and to draw out spiritual characters in ways that you may not have realized? Or what other implications are there for this event? If your interpretation is wrong and you have a me-centered universe, you're going to look at a situation like that from a lens of selfishness, and it's not going to help you endure it. You're going to be bitter or blame, or these other traits are going to emerge from you that aren't going to be helpful in that situation. Wisdom is what gives you the ability to bear those hard times. Tim says there's 3 ways that the world states that wisdom works that are wrong. All 3 of them have something to do with the modern era that we're living in. And the first is technology. As science emerged on the scene, it became to the world these problem-solving mechanism to get us through our lives. We rely on medicine now and innovation and intellectual solutions to all of our problems. And when our problems aren't solved by those things, we blame science or technology or innovation and look for those things to improve in certain areas so that we can live a better life. Well, we know that Scripture teaches that that's not going to do it. It overpromises and underdelivers. The second principle that he talks about is the sinful, forgetful age that we live in, where we've lost our moral compass and we lost our ability to look inside and say, maybe I did something wrong to create this. And we don't acknowledge sin as being a root cause of some of these evil actions that happen or trials or tribulations that are caused. We're missing something. The third piece is the fact that we live in a secular world that values living in the now, that we think that we should live for this earth and this time in our lives, and that if we're not satisfied here, we're doing something wrong and that we need to improve it. So all 3 of those lanes are incorrect thinking. They actually lack wisdom. The technological solution, the sinful forgetfulness that we can experience, and the secular world solutions all miss the boat when it comes to wisdom. And if those are the things that we're relying on, suffering is going to be made worse, and we're not going to understand it. And we're going to miss out on what God has for us. So what are 3 principles for godly wisdom that we can utilize to endure hard times? The first that Tim speaks to is knowing that you are a fool, that we don't have all the answers. It's God's universe and not ours. We have to have a posture of humility. The second is acknowledging that this world is temporary. We're not built for the here and now. We're built for an eternal order that we were created to live in under Adam and Eve, and that's now broken. But that it's going to be restored again, and we need to put our hope in that. The third principle is to know that Jesus died on the cross and endured the ultimate suffering so that we can live eternally with him. If we model those behaviors, and we dwell on that wisdom, then we're going to find the solace that we need when hard times afflict us. I highly recommend that you listen to Tim Keller's sermon, Power for Facing Trouble, right from the book of James. Meditate on it, Let's dialogue about it in this thread, and we'll continue the conversation as Tim moves us through the book of James. If this content's valuable to you, I ask that you please subscribe, like, and continue the conversation. Leave a comment, and we'll do it again soon. Thank you so much.